My name is Matthew Wayne Selznick, and I know this much. Procrastination is a symptom. Welcome to episode 2 of I Know This Much. This is a audio and video podcast where I talk about pretty much whatever I want. Oftentimes covering the subjects of creativity and psychology and philosophy and spirituality and science. Whatever's on my mind that I want to get out of my mind and out to all of you. In this second episode, I want to talk about what I know about procrastination. It's a symptom of something else. The problem isn't that you are putting something off. But why? Or not even putting something off. Maybe you're avoiding something. And the question is why? I think about this a lot because I struggle with it. I struggle with needing to do things, wanting to do things, creative stuff mostly, and finding reasons to do anything else. And it's frustrating, I gotta tell you, because I always feel better when I've made something, when I've completed something, when I've brought something to market to where other people can experience it. But man, is it hard to get there. And boy, are there ways to to sidestep one creative thing for another, to replace the difficult thing with something that kind of scratches the same itch but isn't nearly as hard. And here's the important thing, that doesn't really have the same stakes. Let's use real-world examples. For the last 2 months, I've been pecking away at the sequel to my nonfiction booklet, World Building for Gamers, Writers, and Other Creators. Volume 1 came out, 3 years ago, maybe longer. And it is, it's my best-selling title. It sells more than my 2 novels. Sells more than my short stories, sells more than my short story and essay collection, certainly sells more than any of my music. This little booklet that I wrote 3 or 4 years ago on how to create an Earth-like planet using scientific principles that we know, but not with any really complex math, for the purpose of adding verisimilitude to a creator's novel or game or whatever. That little book outsells everything. So I've known for a long time that, hey, you should write a sequel to that because it's it's the one that does stuff for you. It's what people want, or at least it fills a niche that people want. So I started working on it. Started doing the research in January and February and started writing the thing in February and into March. And it's March 20th now. I'm nowhere near done. And I've had to think about why. Why is it so hard to finish that? Why does it not get prioritized like other things do? Okay, there are practical considerations, like I do have to dedicate time to my creative services business, to doing work for clients that I know is actually going to pay bills, and it's a bird in the hand, right? As opposed to the bird that might lay the golden eggs later on. Wow, metaphors. Here's the other thing, though. Writing that second world building book it's a piece of writing. I'm supposed to be a writer. This is the main thing that I do, or at least it's the main thing that most people know me for. And so there's all sorts of what ifs that pop up, all sorts of insecurities. Imposter syndrome, of course, is a big deal, right? And the idea that what right do I have to create this booklet with all these earth sciences subjects distilled for people. I don't have a degree. I don't have, I am not a scientist. I'm just some guy who knows how to look things up and who knows how to distill topics and who has done this world building thing before. And I know that that anyone can teach anyone else who hasn't reached the same point as the teacher, right? If you don't have to be an expert. If you know more than the person you're teaching, then you're a valuable teacher. So great, that's great. But still, still I find myself only working on the book like as the last thing that I do on the days that I do it. And of course, and my workday ends at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So by then, my energy is low, my initiative is low. I've got all sorts of excuses to do just about any other creative thing other than that. So what have I been doing? I've been working on a redesign for my website, and that needs to be done. And there are, it's a different kind of creativity, but it's still creativity. It still makes me feel like I'm doing something. Anyway, so I work on this website more than I work on the book. And what's it come down to? Nobody's going to really be like, oh, Selznick, that's not a very good website. We're never going to look at a website that you do again, because that's not the case. I mean, even if the site that I create is not super awesome, it'll do the job. And that's kind of what I shoot for my own site anyway. I'm not a designer. I just want a hammer that drives nails, right? So it's easier to do that website than it is to write something and put my name on something that other people will, in a way, depend on to solve their own problems, to solve their world building problems in their fiction or their game or whatever. So I procrastinate. So I do something else instead. But why? And the answer to that question, I think, generally speaking, is fear. Fear of being judged and found wanting. Fear of having to challenge myself and finding myself wanting. Fear that the new thing is not going to be as awesome as the old thing, that it's not going to sell as well as the old thing, that the time that I put into it will have been wasted, time that I could be spending on doing work for clients that I know I'm going to get paid for. It's fear. Similarly, I had planned on going to a convention at the end of May, a science fiction and sort of geek culture convention at the end of May that I hadn't been to since 2007, Balticon. in Baltimore. And I think it's even Balticon 50 this year. It's the big deal. It's the 50th anniversary of this convention. And I bought my membership to the convention, and I arranged with a colleague and friend and patron to have a place to stay, a hotel room to stay, share a hotel. And the only thing I really had to worry about was food and airfare. And then my girlfriend learned about it and was like, "Oh, that sounds exciting. I'd love to. What a great fun way to get away." And we were gonna maybe see Baltimore a little bit and that area. And the more I thought about going, now that we're into March, and it's just 2 months away, almost, 2 months and a week or so away. The more I thought about going, the more I realized that my going to Balticon, not only does it not really serve a purpose, but it's going to make things... It's going to do more harm than good in my overall life. But going and spending 4 days out of state, carousing and socializing and drinking and having fun would be an easy thing to do, as opposed to staying home. Certainly I hope that the world building book is done by then. So, writing something else or recording some music or getting a new freelance client, all of those things would be put by the wayside. And I started to realize that the whole time I'm going to be at Balticon, I'm going to be thinking about all the things that I should be doing. And I realized gradually that going to Balticon was a form of procrastination. It was a form of... It presented an opportunity, let's put it that way. It presented an opportunity to hide from all of the things that I know that I should be doing. All of the things that have a better chance of moving me forward. So I decided I'm not going. I decided that it's not worth the money, the time, and the energy, that I would end up with a deficit of all three of those things if I went. And the fun of meeting some new people for the first time in person, the fun of maybe catching up with old friends who live on that coast that I haven't seen for a long time. I don't even know who's going to be there. See, that's the other thing. That could be a total bust. And do I really want to spend, when all is said and done, $1,000 or more on a big maybe? No, I don't. I want to be at work. I want to be doing something productive, truly productive with that time. I want to be writing, making music, working for my clients, spending time with my girlfriend, creating our own memories, not chasing after what was a good memory from a past that doesn't even really represent who I am anymore. It was difficult and uncomfortable to realize what my initial desire to go to Balticon was all about. And I was telling my girlfriend about it this morning, saying that basically it was sort of like retail therapy. Like going and buying something for that immediate gratification, the joy of something new in your life that disguises or medicates the difficulties or the harder things or the more challenging things in one's life. It's fear. Choosing to do something that isn't as hard because you're scared of the thing that is hard. You're scared of either the work involved in the hard thing or the reaction you're going to get when the hard thing is finally faced and or done. I mean, we're talking about mostly creative stuff here, but you could be talking about anything: a difficult conversation with a loved one, quitting a job that's killing you, putting an animal down. I don't know, whatever it is. And I think the biggest, maybe the biggest thing that I procrastinate against is it procrastinate against? Procrastinate with, is facing the insidious, nasty power that procrastination has over me so often. I want to be done with that. I don't want to be ruled by that. I've broken some pretty big habits in the last 3 months. I've worked hard to create systems for myself and break behaviors. And procrastination is something that I never really thought of in that sense. That it's a habit, that it's a proxy, that it's a defense. But I don't think that's an unreasonable way to look at it. And really what we're talking about again is avoiding things that are scary. And the thing about things that are scary is that, and other people have said this more wisely than myself, I'm sure, but the thing about things that are scary is if it's scary, there's probably a good reason. There's probably something on the other side of that curtain that I can learn from, that will enrich me ultimately, that it will add to my skills, to my personhood, to my identity. That I would otherwise miss out on if I avoid it. Fear. Procrastination is a symptom of fear. And fear is a symptom of challenge, maybe. Of being challenged. And challenges are how we grow, right? So, I know this much. I'm going to work on facing those challenges. You like how I snuck the title in there? Yeah. I'd like to hear from you. Are you a procrastinator? Why do you think you procrastinate? What are you scared of? If you've beaten the procrastination demon, how'd you do it? How has your life been different since you have? Tell me about it. You can leave a comment in the show notes for this episode 2 of I Know This Much, at mattselznick.com, mattselznick.com. You can, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you can leave a comment there on YouTube. You can, there's people walking by outside. You can send me an email at mwsmedia@gmail.com. You can send me a voice recording. You can do something on your phone right there and email it to that same email address, mwsmedia@gmail.com. Let's talk about it. I'd love to hear what you do, if anything, if you've figured it out, what you're doing to beat procrastination, to beat that fear. All right. If you like I Know This Much, and you'd like to support the show, you can become a patron at patreon.com/Matt Selznick. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get 2 shows before anybody else does, and other stuff too. If you go to patreon.com/Matt Selznick and take a look at the various perks that are available at the different pledge levels. I would like to take a moment to thank the people who are pledging. I'm going to name all of them. There aren't too many at this point. Now I'm going to look past you at this screen and read them off. People like Mary Ellen Burwood Porter, Jennifer Franzen, Philip Zanini, Rachel, Dwight Dunlop, CJ Marsicano, Amelia Bowen, Beth, Charles Eugene Anderson, Thomas P. Buener, Kimiko Alexandra, and Grant over there at Saturday Morning Media. These are my current patrons. This is the crowd that you'll be joining. Of course, if you're one of those patrons and watching this, well, this is your crowd. This is your tiny little community. The more, the merrier. And when my patronage reaches a certain point, my number of patrons, dollar amount of pledges reaches a certain point, there will be fun things coming from me. Go to patreon.com/Matt Selznick to find out more about that if you'd like to become a patron and support the show. Visit mattselznick.com and look for the show notes for this episode number 2 of I Know This Much. If you'd like to leave a comment on this show, you can also email me at mwsmedia@gmail.com or record a little voice message and email that to me there. Or you can comment on the YouTube channel right there with this episode's video. Next episode is going to be something kind of neat. So make sure you're subscribed. And I'll see you then. My name is Matthew Wayne Selznick. Take care.